You're listening to Sip and Grow the podcast, the show where we taste awesome, delicious wines while having unfiltered conversations about our passions, experiences, struggles, entrepreneurship, and life. My name is Nicole Di Pasquale, and I'm a wine enthusiast just trying to pursue her passions and dreams while taking you on the journey with me, one episode at a time. My ultimate goal is to not only bring you wine knowledge and value, but also inspire you to enjoy your process and journey in pursuing your passions and dreams. Because guess what? The person you become while enduring the process is more important. So sit back, grab a glass, and let's sip and grow together. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Sip and Grow with me, your host, Nicole Di Pasquale. Today we will be tasting a Portuguese wine. So this is a first for me. Honestly, I got the bottle because it looks really pretty. Also, it wasn't that expensive. I believe it was like, I'm getting confused now with my other wines that I bought when I bought this one. I have to look at the receipt, but I think it was $15. It wasn't that expensive at all. And like, I don't know, it looked pretty. And it had a couple of information on the back of the bottle. So I was like, let's try it out. So one of the most like important wine regions in Portugal is called Dao, D-A-O. So it says it down here, Dao. And I was a little bit confused about this bottle because I was like, okay, who's the producer? Looking into it, this is actually a family-owned estate. So it's a very small estate. It's like surrounded by pine trees on the top of a hill overlooking one of the tallest mountains in Portugal. And I realized like on the back there's a QR code. So when I went there, it's basically like the wine importer who imports this wine to different countries, just put like some information on where this specific like wine came from and like the tasting notes and more or less what you're going to be getting out of this particular wine. But this family, since it's like I guess small production, they don't really have like social media or a website or anything because they don't like mass produce. So I guess this wine importer just grabs all these little estates that produce wine and just bring them overseas to sell them over here. But going back to the region, this region is actually has improved their production of wine because way back when they had a really bad reputation for wine being produced in their area. And it took a couple of producers to be like, all right, let's fix a couple of things, let's make production better. And they did, and now it's actually one of the highest ranked wines in Europe, which I was not aware of. But Dao is actually located on like the northern part of the region. It's basically parallel to Madrid. So if you look at a map, you have Spain, like if you're looking straight onto the map, you have Spain on this side, Portugal on this side. Madrid is like in the northern part of Spain. And then if you just go parallel to Madrid all the way into Portugal, you'll have Dao, which is the region of where this wine is from. And it's basically one of the most popular winemaking regions in Portugal. And the reason it's named Dao, like that region is named Dao because there's a river called the Dao River there. And all the vineyards, or most of the vineyards in that region, are along that river. So one of the coolest things about this specific region is like the altitudes range between like, I think it's like 150 meters to 450 meters above sea level, which is like, I think 500 feet to 1,500 feet above sea level. And basically what that does is like, it raises the vines from on the hill because these vines are basically on a hill, and it kind of raises it on the hill in order for like to come out of the shadows and in order for the sunlight to hit it during the day. which is great because it'll maximize the photosynthesis in the vines, which is super important to have really great healthy grapes as they're going through their ripening process. And then it also increases this thing called diurnal temperature variation. What is diurnal temperature variation? Let me tell you what that is, because I just figured it out. It's basically the difference between the highest temperature during the day and the lowest temperature at night. So what this does, this is important because what it does is like it increases, like at night, since it gets cool, it allows the grapes to like preserve the acidity levels in the grape. So this is great because the heat during the day basically involves or helps the grapes accumulate sugar. And then at night when it cools down, it helps the grapes preserve their acidity levels, which ultimately will allow you to get the acidic wine that everybody strives to get when they make their wines, or the perfect balance in acidity when creating a wine. So that's something that's really important, and this region really, like the temperature in this region really helps the grapes thrive during their ripening process. So that should ultimately get you to create a really nice, bold red wine. Another thing too that I was looking into producers in this area do is they basically really emphasize oak maturation and also what's called like grape, or not grape breath, what is it called? It's called, so like they do like a lengthy maceration, which maceration, if I talked about it before, but basically it's a fancy word for like soaking the skins of the grape in the grape juice during like the fermentation process, basically, because the skins give you colors, tannins, and flavors. And when you do like a longer process of like having them soak in the juice, it'll basically allow you to get a really big, bold, red tannic wine. And that's ultimately what they're going for in this region when they create their wines from there. They have about like 6 or 7, I think it's about 6 grape varietals that they grow that are common to grow in that area. This one specifically it's a combination of 4. It's on the back of the bottle. It's 30% Tinta Roriz, 30% Toriga Nacional, 20% Alfroqueiro, and 20% Jane. These are like really random grape varietals, which if you look them up, there's one that's like they'll correlate it to another grape varietal similar in other regions. So like one of them was very similar to like the Nebbiolo grape. Another one was very similar to like a Pinot Noir grape. So it's just like a bunch of different countries or regions or areas have different names for grape varietals, but certain grapes are very similar to other grape varietals that like we know or are common to us, or at least for me, because if I read these grapes, I'm like, I've never heard of this grape in my life. Also, to be fair, this is my first time drinking a Portuguese wine, so we're all in it to win it today. And then the other thing I read about this family, they're organic. They've had the vines planted there since 1988. But other than that, there wasn't much information, just because, again, I don't think they produce to have the wine importer basically bring the wine over to different countries and sell it over here for them. And that's about it. So I think there's a lot of estates, from what I was reading up, there's a lot of estates in Portugal that do that. So this is gonna be interesting. I really love the label on it. I think it's super cute. And I'm excited to see what it brings. It basically says that we're gonna get a lot of like earthy, elegant, and bright notes in here. So that's exciting because I love myself a earth tone wine with like herbs and like dark red fruits in there. So we'll see how that goes. But another thing too that I really liked about this family, they which, by the way, did not say this, but this one is called, like, this producer is called Artesania. That's it. Like, that's their name. If you look them up, you won't find a website. I didn't find a website, but you'll find their wines at Total Wine, and other like websites where you can buy the wines. But that's where I bought this wine from. I bought it from Total Wine. And one thing I did read on is that their philosophy is less is more, which I love that, because we can dive deep into that, right? But like I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Today was not feeling like filming or doing an episode. Not because I didn't want to. I just think like a lot has been going on in my life, like a lot of back and forth and back-to-back events and things happening. And I was talking with some of my friends, and they were like, girl, Nicole, like, you're burnt out. And I was like, nah, I'm not burned out. Like, what are you talking about? They're like, you've been doing X, Y, and Z, and your body hurts, and you don't know why your body hurts. You're burnt out. Like, you need a day of like calming down, and you're stressing over like not being able to do all the things that you want to do today. And you know, you just need to take a chill pill. And like, if you don't film the episodes that you want to film, like, that's okay. And I was like, okay, maybe you're right. So I was like, you know what? Let's talk about being burnt out on the episode, because why not? You know? But as I was thinking about it, like, one of my friends, she was telling me, which shout out to Dakota. I was gonna say Holding, because I have my best friend Cynthia in my phone under a nickname. That's funny. Random. You guys aren't gonna get it, but she, shout out to Dakota, Cynthia, and Carlos for helping me out today. All of them randomly messaged me today, and I was able to like talk to them about more or less what was going on, and they really helped me through it. So I love you guys and appreciate you guys. But when I really think about burnout, one of the things Dakota told me was like, you need to re-regulate your body, because re-regulate your nervous system, because your nervous system is going on like preservation mode. Basically, your tank is on empty. You need to, the gas light is on. You need to like fix that, right? So then I start thinking about everything, and I'm like, well, I'm someone who I'm an athlete at heart, and like I'm always doing everything with like an athlete mentality, which isn't a bad thing, but it can be toxic, because like when I think about athletes, at least for me, it's like any type of sport you play, like the athlete mindset is basically like 90% is a mental game, and then 10% is talent in whatever sport you play, right? So like I can talk about each sport right now and tell you the mental capacity that you need for each sport. Like I feel like soccer is very heavy on the having a really big like IQ and mental strength. I feel like tennis is another one. I feel like all sports are like that. Like running is another one too, which right now I'm in a space surrounded by a lot of runners, and I myself got into running because of that. And I've done like running before, but I got out of it because I was very focused on my soccer career. And when I got back into it, which I would say it's been like a month now that I've been like following a running plan while also playing soccer. That's another crazy thing that I'm doing, but it's fine. We're balancing it as best as we can. I didn't remember how mentally taxing running is, or not taxing, but how you have to be mentally strong with running, until I started doing it, because I was like, damn, like running is really a mind game. And I think it's a really great way to like train your brain and really build the strength, like the mental strength for you to like take on any type of challenge. Because if you think about it, like there's people that run like 20-30 miles a day, and well, not every day, but like, you know what I'm saying. And to me right now, thinking about running 20 miles is crazy. But when I tell you I'm surrounded by people that like do that, they're like, they would come into work and be like, yeah, I ran 20 miles today. And then they're there working a job where you're on your feet the entire day. I was like, what in the world? is going on, which, to be fair, on my side of things, like I could play a 90-minute soccer game and then do other things after the 90-minute soccer game. I've done that before, but I've done that my entire life, so it's normal for me. But one of the things that I realize is like I have this athlete mindset, and I get into things and I think like, you know, we gotta put the reps in, we gotta keep going, because you never know when the opportunity is gonna come, because when it comes, you gotta be ready. Which, yes, that's great. It's always good to stay ready, and I'm an advocate for always staying ready. But what comes with that is like you need to also rest and recover in order to be 100% ready. Because if you're not rested and recovered, you won't be 100%. And if you're not 100%, you're not going to be able to give that opportunity 100% when it presents itself, because you didn't do what was necessary for your brain, for your body to recover in order to be able to give someone else 150%, right? And like that goes into everything. If you are killing it, 3 days in a row, the fourth day probably might be a good day to be like, hey, like today, let's do a little recovery session. Let's calm down. We don't have to be at 100 miles per hour today. Let's be at 10 miles per hour today, and like see what we really need. Because one of the things I will say is like your body tells you exactly what you need. For instance, I'm super sore and like my body hurts, and like I've had so much pain in my body this entire week. And I was like trying to think about it. I haven't really gone crazy. Like I've done my normal routine with like soccer, working out and stuff like that, but I haven't gone crazy overload with it either. So I was like confused. I'm like, why am I so exhausted and tired? I didn't take into account that I've been working nonstop on my feet all day long. The mental space that I need in order to do the job that I do, which is talking to everybody, like random strangers 24/7, selling them products, that's a lot. And it's very taxing on your mind. It's very taxing on your body if you're standing all day long walking around. And I don't take that into consideration, but I literally been doing that then for 8 hours straight, then getting out of my job to go play soccer, to then come home, do some work on the podcast or on my business or whatever I'm trying to create for myself, to then go to sleep, wake up and do that all again. And I haven't really had the time to like rest 2 days in a row, because I don't have 2 days in a row to rest. So I just, whatever free time I do have, I input into my wine career, into my podcast, into family time, into friend time. And it's like, I don't realize that it all accumulates until my body starts hurting out of nowhere. And I'm like, what's going on here? And that's when like I tell you, like your body will tell you what you need. And if your body's hurting more than usual, it's probably because you need to recover somewhere in your life, whether it be like physically or mentally. You just need to really be in tune with your body and what you need, and like make sure you take that time or that rest or recovery in order to be 100% again, to go out and do all the things that you want to do, and to go out and do the things that you have to do. Because if you don't do that, you're always going to be on preservation mode. You're always going to be running on empty. The gas light is always going to be on. And we don't want that. We don't want that, because you need to be 100 in order to give other people 100, period. So with that said, let's go ahead and taste this wine. Loving the color already. It's looking like a dark ruby red. I love that. Let me put this white page, hold on. Yeah, it's like a dark ruby red. Love it. Let's swirl it around a little bit to see what notes come out. Ooh. So I'm definitely getting like hints of vanilla, like spicy herbs. So like pepper, what else is in there? cherries, like a dark cherry. And there's something else. Cranberries for sure. It's very like just spicy and like dark red fruits is what I'm getting. Let's taste it. Whoa, this tastes like a tannic Pinot Noir. So I don't know if this is a 2019 vintage. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but it's a 2019 vintage, and it's basically, in Portugal, it's the same as like in most of Europe. Like they name the wine by the region. So this is called Dao 2019. But it's very heavy on the tannins. So it kind of has a longer finish to it because it lingers on your tongue and then it goes down. If you're not a fan of tannic wines, I wouldn't suggest this, but just tasting it, it was like very heavy on like the dark red fruits like cranberry or a dark cherry, even like I'm even getting hints of hibiscus in there. It's really, really, I think it's really delicious. It's heavier on the floral, earthy notes, and it has its tannins as well, and it has a longer finish to it, but it's not heavy. I would probably rate this wine because I really actually enjoy this wine. These types of wines, I would rate this probably an 8.5 out of 10. Again, to me, it tastes kind of like a Pinot Noir, but like a very tannic Pinot Noir, which is not, it's not common. I mean, you can have it, but like it's almost like muggy in the taste, like kind of like we're out in the forest, and like we picked all these dark berries, mashed them together, threw in some hibiscus in there, and then we're threw in pepper and a hint of vanilla because there was a hint of vanilla, and then decided to make a wine. That's my rating of this wine, 8.5 out of 10. I'll link it below since it was on Total Wine. I'll link it below in the show notes. Let me know if you try this. Let me know what you think. But I hope you guys have enjoyed today. I hope you rest and recover if you need to rest and recover. I know I will. I'm glad that I was at least able to get out one episode today and like talk to you guys about it and kind of have a release with you guys on this episode. And let me know if you get to taste this wine. I want to hear all about it, and I will see you guys on the next one. Cheers.